Let me give a shout out here to Chris Haynes, NBA on TNT. Courtside reporter. That means he gets dressed up to go to the games. Yahoo Sports NBA insider and host of Posted Up with Chris Haynes podcast. He covered Lakers, Blazers Monday, Mavs, Clippers last night. So let me start with Mavs and the Clippers. Good morning, Chris. Do you think the NBA does anything to Marcus Morris after what happened to Luka Doncic last night?
It will be hard for them to find out that Marcus, did that on purpose. I seen the replay obviously, and I seen it live, and it does look questionable, but it's just hard to tell. I don't understand how the NBA could come down with a ruling saying that Marcus intended to step on the ankle or the foot of Luka Doncic, and that's a serious matter. Obviously, Luka is back out there, by himself when you look at it from a star perspective, and he's hobbled, and so for anybody to do that's definitely an egregious act. But I just can't see how the NBA rules down on Marcus.
Yeah, it's tough to rule on intent, and I'm with you on that. But when I watch it, Marcus Morris is not making a basketball play. There's no reason for him to be approaching Luka from behind because they just scored the basket, and he goes over. I thought he was going to elbow it or give him a forearm or something, nudge him a little bit, and you happen to step on the bad ankle. I'm not going to. And plus, this is Marcus Morris. If this is Kawhi who did it, I give him the benefit of the doubt. Morris doesn't get the benefit of the doubt here.
Yeah, and look, and Marcus has been roughing up Luka, especially after Luka had those, tremendous games. He's been roughing him up, bodying him, trying to make sure he's getting all up in him, talking trash. And Luka even said it last night. Marcus is saying all type of, foul stuff at me, but I'm trying to ignore him. So this is a tactic that Marcus Morris is using. Again, I know he's trying to get all up in him. I know he's trying to rough him up, and bother him. But again, it's just difficult for us to tell intent.
The Clippers look great. What was the biggest difference last night? Aside from Kristaps not playing and then Luka being shut down, and maybe that ankle has a little bit to do with it, but what's the difference with the Clippers?
I mean, playoff P showed up. Playoff P showed up. I mean, that was pretty much the difference. He hit the first basket of the game for him. You can tell that was his mission, to be offensively assertive. And I think once he did, that kind of rallied the troops. And, they just got it going. They had it going from the start. And, really, there was a lot of different elements, but Paul George definitely, I think that was a difference maker.
But then after the game, he talked about being depressed and, being in the bubble, and it got to him. And so, because I wondered, was he injured? Was there something else going on here? Because he just seemed like he was not all there. And then he said, I was actually going through something in the bubble. How surprised were you with that?
I was surprised to hear him say that. I'm not necessarily surprised if that was really the reason of why he was struggling. There's a bunch of players who are having their ills here in the bubble, just trying to cope with not being around family, the things that's going on in society right now. Another unarmed black man shot, and this one happened in Wisconsin in front of his kids. And so there's a lot of guys that's dealing with these things, and you're used to after games going home, and whether that's a bad game, good game, or whether you're dealing with certain problems, you're used to going home and being around family, being around people that you love, people that support you and can give you guidance. That's not here. Teammates are teammates, and definitely there's a bond between teammates, but it's not your family. It's not what you're accustomed to going home to. And so that's been an issue for everybody, but I am surprised that Paul George did reveal that.
But then you had this, senseless shooting with Jacob Blake, and the players, at least it felt like there was the start of a groundswell that maybe they were going to try to do something, whether it's sit out a game, there'd be a boycott. How close do you think we are or were to something like that happening in the bubble?
Well, I just reported about 10 minutes ago for Yahoo Sports that there was actually a meeting held last night. There was a gathering with players who are just emotionally distraught and traumatized over what is going on. They're hurting here in this bubble. And a group of them met at one of the hotels here on campus, and they met with Chris Paul was there, Andre Iguodala, is the leadership committee of the Players Association, and basically they're trying to get guidance and get some of the logistics of what it would look like if they were to boycott, trying to figure out their options. And it was a good talk from what I was told. And a lot of guys are just frustrated because they felt like a lot of things that they plan to do, like players planned before they got here, they planned to have meetings weekly. They wanted to have a couple meetings weekly just to kind of stay engaged and just brainstorm on what they can do. But those meetings haven't come about as frequently as they hope because, as you know, there's games every day, practices every other day, film study. And so they're feeling like a lot of players are frustrated because they're feeling like the thing is that they're coming over here and they're distracting away from the real issues that are going on in the Black community. And that is what they fear from the get. So those talks are still ongoing. They started yesterday. They had a significant meeting last night trying to get the logistics. So this is something that's brewing, and that's something that I don't know that it's going to get done, but there's definitely, the talks are firm and it's definitely real.
How much pressure is on LeBron? Because usually when he says something, does something, he's become sort of the de facto league spokesperson.
LeBron has made it clear from day one, even before he got to Orlando, that he felt that the NBA must go on. We must get this season. And so pressure on him. I don't know necessarily that there's pressure aside from just trying to perform on the court. Look, this season, I will believe this season is going to continue on. I don't know what's going to happen in the short term as far as boycotting games or so, but I don't see there being pressure. But I will say this, Dan, there are people, players, and significant agents who told the players, look, before we got to this restart, that, look, we can boycott or we can choose not to go to this restart, but how beneficial is it to us to lose money? And that's going to only hurt our chances of being able to invest in the Black community and being able to give back. So a lot of people are saying, a lot of players feel like, boycotting or not playing, that's going to hurt the Black community. That's going to hurt our pockets, enable us to give back. So that's the other side of that equation. I think that's what LeBron James leans on as well.
We're talking to Chris Haynes, NBA on TNT, courtside reporter, and, of course, Yahoo Sports NBA insider, host of the Posted Up with Chris Haynes podcast. Lakers fixed all their issues? They're all good right now?
In this series, especially with Damian Lillard out, they've definitely fixed it for this series. But, look, the Lakers have never been a good three-point shooting team all season. They were one of the poorest teams in the league. Over the last few games, they've been one of the best. Is that going to be sustainable? And then when Rajon Rondo gets back, can they keep that up? So I think they've solved it for right now. I'll be very, very surprised. Not to disrespect Yusuf Nurkic, not to disrespect C.J. McCollum and Carmelo Anthony, but I would be very surprised if the Blazers were able to extend it to a Game 6. I just don't think they have the firepower and the depth to continue with the Lakers right now.
Who would the Lakers want to face between the Rockets or Thunder?
The Thunder. I would say the Thunder. I would say the Thunder. I just think the matchups are a problem. Oklahoma City has a small guard backcourt, not just in the backcourt, even at the small forward position when they put Shai Alexander over there. So, yeah, OKC for sure.
Can you see Greg Popovich actually taking the job in Brooklyn?
It's tough. It's really tough. It's really tough for me to imagine that. No doubt about it. Sean Marks has his eyes on Greg Popovich, one of his mentors. But it's very tough. For the last 4 years, we've been kind of hearing Pop is thinking about retiring. Retire. It's like every year, like every single year. It's kind of like Jordan, his last tenure, his last few years in the league. You just didn't know if he was going to retire. This is going to be the year or not. So I will say this. If Pop did take that Nets job, I can't see it happen. I personally can't see it happen. But if he did, that's a situation where it's a short-term fix, because I think Pop can go in there and transform that team into a championship contending team from day one. And so I can see a scenario of where it would make sense, but I just can't see it. I don't see it at all.
Yeah, I wondered if he was going to continue coaching, and I thought that he would eventually, when he left the Spurs, leave them in a place of comfort that Becky Hammon might take over as the head coach. I don't know if Tim Duncan wants to be the head coach, but I thought knowing Pop and always forward thinking that he would welcome or try to usher in Becky Hammon as the first female head coach in NBA history. What do you think about that?
No, and that would be the ultimate move. That would be the ultimate assist. No, definitely. I definitely see that. If Pop feels like Becky is ready for this opportunity, and then he can go over there and get back to playing high level basketball and get back to the postseason, because as we know, Spurs didn't make it for the first time in 2 decades. So yeah. I can see that. It makes all the sense in the world. But it's just hard just to not see Pop on the Spurs sideline.
I don't know if you know this story. It just came out. The Pacers have fired Nate McMillan. They gave him a contract extension 2 weeks ago.
They put a year on his on his contract.
What the heck?
I mean, it was funny, when it came out that he got an extension. We're like, okay, that's cool. So it got some point, and we found out it was just a year added to it. So,
yeah, but I thought they were a feel-good team, and you had the young players there, and T.J. Warren was the Michael Jordan of the bubble.
Well, I mean, they got swept. So Brett Brown got swept as well. I believe they got swept. Didn't they get swept? Yeah. Okay, they got swept, and Brett Brown definitely got swept. And so that's kind of comes with the territory.
Got any bubble gossip there for me?
Bubble gossip. I mean, I haven't seen anybody sneak off. I haven't seen anybody come in as well. And I'm trying to think. Any juicy tidbits I have for you, DP?
Are you on late night patrol?
I'm not, but I am up late nights, and I find myself walking around. Not walking around see if I see anything questionable, just walking around because I'm.
You're not narking out, right? You're not narking. Okay,
no,
I just want to make sure. Okay, I just want to make sure. I don't, How's morale there?
Look, I think morale is going to be a lot better next week because wives and girlfriends get cleared. Next week.
And what's it called? California work? Is that what it's? LA work?
LA work.
LA. Damn, I love that. I never knew that term. LA work.
Have you experienced that?
No.
Okay.
No. I mean, back in the early 80s, but I've been married 33 years, so I have a hard enough time doing Milford work here, man.
Don't get in trouble, DP.
No. I get worked. I'm not. I'm not in the import-export business here, Chris. I'm not. No. I've been in a bubble before there was the bubble. Good to talk to you. Thanks for joining us, Chris.
All right, man. You take care.
All right. That's Chris Haynes, NBA on TNT Courtside Report.
Got him crying.
I know.